Okay. So the final project, get the final project topics to me by first week of March, and also what do we talk about? Oh yeah, and before that, there's a Slack. Are you on Slack? Because you asked for Slack. Yeah, because you asked for Slack last week.
I'm there.
You're there?
Yeah. Do we have a group?
Yeah, we have a channel. So this is the channel.
So you're not yet there.
Let someone invite me, guys.
We
React.
did, and you
Told
never
us,
accepted.
man.
I can't. I also invited you on Facebook. And, no, I'm just kidding.
What's it called? React?
ReactJS 102-Feb 2016. It'll be our channel.
That would be
Yeah.
redundant.
So join this
Can't find it.
and just hit me up.
ReactJS.
ReactJS.
Oh, okay. I see that one. Yay,
can find
hey
it?
guys.
I don't see it.
Oh, are you here?
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Christopher,
Oh, it's
AKA
Chris.
Dad.
So
you'd have to get into that channel.
you probably get an invitation email in your spam folder somewhere.
Slack
I got
one.
one email.
So
The only
Yeah,
email
it's-
I got is I've seen some of you successfully join in my CD is Slack. That's
Well, I could put a picture on
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna
okay,
say,
so I'm gonna ask them to invite you again.
Holy shit. Like,
It's
it's
like the
kind of
tablecloth.
process of elimination.
You got the tablecloth avatar.
Cool. Somebody's trying.
Wow.
Okay, so back to imperative programming. So we have an object with a attribute value 0 and define a function here which mutates that value by the argument. So if I do add 2 again now the value is 4. So this is the very definition of imperative programming. Is you have an object and you have a function, and when you call that function, it mutates the object. And this is called a side effect. So whenever the function executes and then doesn't return anything, or if it returns something, but something unrelated to the function is changed, that means that's called a side effect of the function. So it's not a pure function. This function executes and then something unrelated changes. So that's the very definition of imperative programming. So let me just switch here. And then if we do this in an imperative way, a declarative way, let me just see if I can find a function. So this is the functional or declarative way of programming of doing that. So if I add 2, 1 and 2, returns 3. So declarative programming or functional programming, they are actually two sides of the same thing. The definition is that there's a function, and there's an argument, and there's a return value. And whenever the argument is the same, the return value is the same. So if I add 1 and 2, it always gives me 3. We're not giving
So
anything
which
else.
one are we going for?
So declarative is more like a
Say that.
React way of doing
But
things.
you know
That
what?
makes
It just to me it looks just looks another way of doing, getting that answer.
Yeah.
Well,
so
yes. Yeah.
But the big difference comes when you're dealing with UI. Because when you're programming UI, one way is better than the other.
Okay.
But if you're dealing with, say, the database, then the imperative way is definitely better.
Really?
Yeah, so you have a database, you mutate it, depending on what happens. So that's the imperative way. But if you're doing UI, you have set of states, you want to map the states to your UI, you want to do the function.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For imperative programming, like you showed at the top, it seems like there's like a state that object has, and then you're adding to the state of
right.
the object.
I'm mutating the state.
You're mutating
Yeah.
and changing. Well,
Yeah.
you're not really changing that state value, though, are you?
Yeah, I'm changing it, so I'm changing
Oh yeah,
it here.
object
Yeah.
value is
Yeah.
equal to object value.
So I'm grabbing the object, I'm changing it, and that's a side effect of the function. And with the declarative way, there's no side effect. The function takes values and return a value. Nothing else changes. So, and the fundamental difference is that you see the first add function, when I do add 1, you don't know what resultant stuff is going to happen. You don't know. You just don't know. You don't know because you have to look at this function in a serial way, like in a serial way, like in time. So I have to tell you that I call this function 3 times each time with the argument 1, so you can tell me what the resultant value is for the object. But if I don't tell you that, you have no way of knowing what happened. But the functional way is different. I tell you I have an argument of 2 and 3, you immediately can tell me that the result value is, if 1 is 6, the result is 7. You immediately know. So this is very different way of programming stuff. But with React, we're dealing with UI, so the best way is to use the declarative way, because we're dealing with a set of states here. If the to-do list is strike through, or if it's completed, or if it's there or not there. If you only deal with states and you want to do like a jQuery way, imperative way of doing stuff, you will find that you're dealing. I have an n state, then I'm dealing with n squared number of states. If you're doing imperatively, if I have a strike through, I have like color red and color blue, and not strike through. You will see that strike through can pair with the color red, strike through can pair with color blue, and not strike through pair with color red and blue. So if I have 4 states, I have 4 square. I have 16 way of pairing these states. So if you do imperatively, you're dealing with 16 states. But if you do it declaratively, you have only 4 states. So you just map that 4 state for your UI. No matter how they change, your UI changes accordingly. So it's like a 4 and 16, n and n squared. That's why the declarative way simplifies the mental process of dealing with your UI. Okay. So last time we were doing the theremin. You remember how we did that? Let me just. Oh, by the way, you guys pull this branch. So you should pull. So it's Feb17-WED Wednesday. Do that. npm start. Yep.
Did you update it recently?
Yeah.
Like when was the last time?
Like 2 hours ago.
2 hours, okay.
What's wrong?
Maybe I'm doing something. What if I do a git fetch?
Is everything okay? So last time we did the theremin, and we have a homework. That is the exercise. So this is the model. So they are doing imperative work here. When you hit call open model function, you actually go in the DOM and then find the model. So they have a ref here. Ref is like props, but it's not passing down. It's just used assign to a specific DOM node. So like a ref, if you put a ref model, then you can find that node using find DOM node and then this ref model, and then you can do imperative stuff with it. Say you call model show and then hide here. So so if you remember with the theremin stuff, we actually package the imperative stuff and then put it in its own component. And then our resultant app component does not have any imperative stuff.
So what makes it imperative?
So imperative is you find that stuff and you change it.
Instead of passing some state.
Yeah, instead of passing state, instead of you call a set state, and then let the changing state give you your changing UI. So if you're not calling set state when you want something done, then you're doing something wrong. So here, we want to open a more.
Basically, anytime you use jQuery, is it like declarative?
Exactly.
Because you're like manually finding the
Exactly.
node and manipulating the node and stuff
Right.
like that. So
So jQuery is the most imperative, library there is. And it's bad because finding the DOM node is very expensive. Yeah, it's very expensive. It's expensive memory, and you might think that whenever we set state, call set state, and then the React re-renders our DOM, it might be expensive too. But because they use this virtual DOM stuff, they just compare your virtual DOM, which is objects in memory, not the actual DOM. So they just compare that, and it's pretty, very fast, and only swap the place where there's change. So
Doesn't it re-render the entire thing though?
no, if there's no change, if the state that doesn't have any changes, they only re-render the part that has changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. So this is model called imperative stuff.
Did you write in that box, in the modal box that comes down?
Yeah.
Did you write in there?
Yes.
Can you explain what that means? It sounds very zen. I need to
I
understand
was
what it
just
means.
talking to him about that.
Yeah, so calling an instance is imperative, not so. So pretty much is what I said. If you're calling this model show here, that's imperative.
Mhm.
Okay.
Got it.
So it's a dynamic process, just like this the add here. It's a dynamic process. You have to add, and so it's stuff happening at a point in time. So it's not, So you have to, when you write this program and you want to know what happens as the users flow through your app, you have to follow the user each step of the way.
Okay.
And that's very hard to do.
It seems like even in the example though that you are using jQuery or a similar thing with React. It's called, what is that? The DOM. What is it called?
React DOM.
Yeah, find DOM node.
Find DOM node is a method in React.
Right.
That
Isn't that similar to?
Yeah, that has similar like jQuery selectors.
Mhm.
So it's just if you want to do something to the DOM, React will let you. It will not be so strict as not letting you. But
like for hiding and showing or removing and adding an element.
you can always do that. Yeah, you can always do that, but it's not recommended.
Right.
Yeah. So if you have to do this, you better be that you exhaust the possibility of using the traditional way of set state. So if you cannot do it that way, then you can fire DOM and do something.
Okay.
Or if you're using some library like a jQuery and you need some function there, then you use find DOM node and then call jQuery on.
Okay.
Yep. And then I have the experience over time. I have another way of explaining this whole thing now. It's pretty important, but I don't know if it helps. Since my
draw pictures.
my background is in physics, and I don't know how much you remember this physics problem. So if
Oh yeah.
you have like a roller coaster.
Yep.
A roller coaster is here, right? And as a kid, and it goes down, and so in the physics, like high school physics, you say this is 100 meters. Then the problem asks you, how high can the roller coaster go over there? And in physics, there are essentially two ways of solving this too. You can actually break this down into points in time, here, and then calculate, the force, the Newton's law, right? So F equals ma. I was very good at that. So you can calculate that each step of the way. That's imperative. Each point in time, you calculate a force on this object and then calculate the velocity and whatnot. And there's a second way. which is what they call, the potential energy, right? How high you are, there's some gravity, there's some potential energy, and the equation is what mgh is equal to the energy. So by energy conservation, how much you have here is going to be how much there. So you can be pretty sure to know that it's going to travel to the same height here. And this is in declarative way. You have a height, or your potential energy, that's your state. And the energy conservation is your function. So function in, function out, nothing, there's no side effect, nothing changes. So you don't worry about point in time. You don't worry about anything in between that, the physics, what happens. You care about this they call boundary conditions. So your states here and there, and you plug in this function to calculate that. And this is so much easier than doing this, then you basically have to do calculus and to do that. So this is imperative, this is declarative, and it happens everywhere. Physics, computer science, basically the same thing. Okay. Well, of course, at some point, this imperative way is very useful, but at some other points, declarative is useful.
So, to make this more declarative, you could actually set the. Well, I guess you can't really do that. How would you? Well, I was thinking your style. You could actually display block or display none, instead of actually using jQuery to target it and either hide or show, right?
Right, but here we are stuck with jQuery because or Bootstrap.
Mhm.
We just want to, just like Thurman, we want to package that away so you can write a component that package the imperative stuff away, and in your app you don't only have to do declarative stuff. Okay, so that just gonna jump over to the solution here. So here we have a state in our app. We just set it as model is open, and then whenever we call open model and close model, we call set state. Pretty much this is what the definition of declarative it is in React. So our app is now entirely declarative. If the model should be open, we call set state and then set it to open. And if the model should be closed, we set it to false. And then this model component just packaged that imperative stuff. So here, because that state is being passed in as a prop, so let me just show you right here is prop. So this state that model is open is passed in as props into model as is open. So if it is the prop is open is true, then we find that DOM node and then we call show and hide on it. So
you're wrapping, you're taking the imperative stuff, you're passing state into that modal, and then you're putting it into a function, and you're checking on that state whether you're going to manipulate that element or not.
So in the model, we checking on that, that prop being passed in, and exactly as you said. If it's open, then we manipulate it to show.
You can't take away a property, right? You can only set the property's state, right?
What do you mean take away?
Like, so is open is a property, right? It's a prop.
Yeah, it's a prop, yeah.
And you can't really take that away from modal. Like, is open is always going to be a prop.
It's a prop that I passed in manually, right
Right.
here. Yeah, right here. And I connect it to my state in the app. So there's an app and there's modal.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think if there's, you could add more properties.
Yeah,
to
you can
that
add. Yeah,
if
you can add as many as well.
Okay.
So basically, the others are all the same. Just we package that away. So if you do Angular, you know the Angular way of doing things, and this is the React way of doing things. But you always need some third-party library, which may not be the React way. But the best thing you can do is just package it away, so your teammates don't have to do any imperative work. Because doing imperative work is dangerous. If you mutate something, that might crash some other people's component. You don't know. So that's that. And I'm
Just want
gonna
like
just
a factory.
yeah.
Put wood into the factory, out comes toothpicks or whatever.
So I'm gonna run over and check on the room, and then before we're gonna move.
And I think you could get rid of this with the bind. See that thing in the constructor?
17.
By using the fat arrows. So do imperative work. If you do imperative work equals the parentheses and the fat arrows, you can get rid of the bind on the top in that constructor.
It's just like a 6 thing.
Yeah.
Probably 10 more minutes. Any questions on this?
You could get rid of the bind, right? By using the fat arrow for ES6.
Yep. So you can, yep. So here you can do the arrow here. You can get rid of this. That's true. Okay.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
And also, there's one thing that I talked about last time very briefly. These dot props are children. So, anybody remember what this is?
Gets the whatever the elements inside the
Yeah.
component, the child component that you're calling. So
Right. So you want to make a model, right? But you don't want to define what's in the model. So if you're writing a model component, yeah, you just in your definition just call this dot props dot children, and let the user or whatever that model define what's inside. So here, this whole thing will be the children. So this block will be this dot props dot children.
Yep.
It will be rendered inside your model.
So on line 32,
Mhm.
there is L dot model of show,
Mhm.
right? Like what is dot L dot model? Like L, I understand the jQuery object. Dot model, like is that a jQuery
This is actually
built-in function?
the Bootstrap.
Bootstrap does that.
Yeah, so Bootstrap. So they imported Bootstrap Webpack.
Okay, so
So
when you say model of show, it automatically handles the display perfect.
right.
Yeah, you're actually. I guess you're targeting modal, the modal element.
Yeah, I
Right.
applying a.
because it was kind of confusing. I thought model was the lowercase thing was an object of the uppercase model,
Yeah.
the React element, React component. So
Right. Yeah. So
yeah,
they imported
Okay.
these things. So
all right, that's where.
so it's just a library. But, okay. And just like in Theremin, we imported some Theremin stuff that yeah, that we're gonna do.
Could you briefly go into why using the hash rocket ES6 way of declaring do imperative work, you don't need to just define
Oh,
any,
because the hash rocket way of defining function gets the surrounding scope. So this, it's only this that's important.
okay.
So if you don't use this, if you use it the other way, and you don't bind it, then you can't. This does not get.
Like what is
Yeah.
this?
This will be undefined. Yeah.
Yeah.
This not probably be undefined.
So
Yeah.
at this point, this is undefined, but we put in that bind or use the
Yeah.
hash rockets. This is the window, or like is it the?
It's the outer strip. Just one strip.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
out of scope. Right. Cool. Any other questions? Then, and I think I'll trouble you guys to do some moving. We're gonna go over there.
It's getting hot here anyway.
Yeah.
Let's get those.